Hello everyone, I'm your digital host, Tatyana White, and welcome back to another episode of the 48 Recap, the one-stop shop to catch up on some of the top news stories of the week, including an update on a Deshler High School student who was injured at school, the father of a 13-year-old who was hit and killed by a car in Huntsville speaks out, an Ardmore family is devastated after a father and son were killed in a house fire, a look at 20 years later after Hurricane Katrina made landfall, and much more. I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend so far. Let's get into this weekend's recap. One of the top news stories this week was out of Tuscumbia, where we continue to follow the story of a Deshler High School student who was injured at school last week. Tuscumbia police transferred the case of injured 15-year-old August Borden to juvenile authorities in a neighboring county. Tuscumbia police say they transferred the case to the Franklin County Juvenile Probation Office, which will now have jurisdiction over the Colbert County case where Borden suffered skull and facial fractures. They are also getting assistance from the Madison County District Attorney's Office. Tuscumbia police say the investigation involves subjects and witnesses under the age of 18. 48's Aria Pons has been following this story, and she shares more on the developing story.
Nearly 2 weeks after being hospitalized with severe head injuries, 15-year-old August Borden is finally coming back to himself.
Just seeing him smile and having a little bit of a sense of humor back, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Kristen and Drew Van Devender, August's mother and stepfather, say he's slowly progressing, but he's still having bad headaches and cannot remember exactly what happened that day.
And started the freshman year, this happens, and so we're in the whole year for him, and he just loved it. He loved football. He was proud of it, and well,
He's having to go through this.
Drew Van Devender and Jason Borden, August's father, say they have an idea of what happened, but still haven't officially been told what caused their son to be hospitalized for skull and facial fractures. Now they want answers and transparency.
Accountability. We want that, brought to light. We want people to know what they did to our son. We want to know everybody that was involved that didn't cooperate, that didn't help out in the investigation.
Now that the case has been transferred, they fear they won't get the answers they're looking for anytime soon.
The fact that we even had to get to day 10 without an answer or an end to this is astonishing. But again, it's unfortunate, but it's our goal to make sure that no other family has to go through this again.
The family does want to thank the community for sending in information and pictures that have aided them in this investigation. They say the public wants to know what happened, and so do they. Reporting in Tuscumbia, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Security was also heightened at the Deshler High School football game last night due to this incident. The Colbert County Sheriff stepped in to provide an extra layer of protection at the game as tensions have continued to rise. The case has blown up on social media, and Colbert County Sheriff Eric Ballantyne said the tension is one reason why they had heightened security at last night's football game. However, there have also been threats made against the school. There have been enough threats to warrant several deputies being pulled to right around Tuscumbia as well that attended the game. Sheriff Ballantyne said his deputies were at the game to ensure peace. He said the community needs to come together now more than ever and pray for August and his family. He understands the frustration, but he said it should not interfere with the football games.
Be frustrated, be angry, we understand it, but be respectful, and please, let's not have any injuries, let's not have anybody get hurt. We've got enough people hurt right now, so let's just pray for this young man. Hopefully he can heal and get past this, and let's just fall back on the character of this city.
Sheriff Ballantyne and his deputies were able to keep the peace at last night's game. The team and coach connected arms while walking down the hill for the game. Band members, cheerleaders, and football players all had a touch of yellow to their uniforms to honor August. Band and cheerleaders also had ribbons, while the football players had a yellow sticker on their helmets, and some even had yellow mouth guards. Everyone at the game also took a moment of silence for August. We will keep you updated on this developing story right here at WAFF. Now to a story you will only see on 48 News. The father of the 13-year-old boy killed while riding his bike is sharing his son's story for the first time. Cal Fox was riding his bike near an intersection in South Huntsville when he was hit by a car and killed. 48's Faith Delp shares more on this story after speaking with Cal's dad.
3 weeks ago, 13-year-old Cal Fox was hit at this intersection right behind me. His father, Brian Fox, says he was an intelligent, energetic, and loving boy who was taken from them far too soon.
Hearts are just broken, and folks are having a hard time coming to grips with this being a reality.
Cal was a member of the National Honor Society. He played saxophone in band, and he loved to bike. He was on the mountain bike team starting in 6th grade, and in his first season competing, he placed second for state. He camped, fished, and one day dreamed to be a nuclear engineer.
He was really interested in nuclear engineering and wanting to do, solve big problems in the world. And so that's unfortunate, just like what won't get done because he's not here. He was a lot, and he was doing a lot, doing well, and loved by many.
Brian told me, to his surprise, he's learning more about his son after his passing. At Cal's funeral, kids came up to speak and said Cal was friends with anyone. Kids who felt alone, were bullied, or felt like they had no one, they all had Cal. One person who came up that really shocked everyone was the school janitor.
A positive impact and just happiness, joy every day. And so someone you wouldn't think about in the school system, a school janitor that is going to tremendously miss this boy. And Cal was making a positive impact in his life.
Huntsville police told me the driver has not been charged, and they will update us once the toxicology report comes back. And city officials say they are still conducting traffic studies in the area before moving forward with any safety improvements. Reporting in Huntsville, Faith Delp, 48 News, on your side.
And we have an update to a tragic story in Ardmore, where a family is mourning and asking for help after a house fire killed a father and his young son early Thursday morning. Jennifer Griffin had a husband and 4 sons, but a fire tore through her house and turned her life upside down. She talked to 48 News on Thursday afternoon in complete tears after losing her husband, who she says did everything he could to save their family. Griffin said she and her husband, Dakota Daly, woke up to a popping sound, then opened their door to a billow of black smoke. She said Dakota's first instinct was to get her and their 6-month-old son out safely, so he broke the window and pushed her out. She said he then went to get their 7-year-old Jaden, but they didn't come out. Once firefighters arrived on scene, she urged them to rescue her son, but by the time they got him out 5 minutes later, it was too late. Jaden and his father were pronounced dead at the scene.
He's a hero, if you want to know what I think. I mean, he gave his life for us, so I mean, to me, that's a hero. Jaden was just this perfect kid. He was so sweet and loving and caring, and he was the best kid I ever had.
Griffin is left with her 16-year-old, 9-year-old, and 6-month-old sons, and she's not sure where they can go from here. They lost everything and don't have insurance to cover it. If you would like to help the family, visit our website at WAFF.com, where you can donate on the Neighborhood Bridges link. And we have a 48 exclusive where we're hearing brand new details surrounding a self-proclaimed pastor who's accused of preying on women around Huntsville. Michael McDougall is facing a felony human trafficking charge. Investigators said he would promise to help homeless and drug-addicted women, claiming he was a pastor, but instead he would use them for sex. Tuesday was his first hearing in front of a judge. 48's Nick Ballinger was the only reporter in the courtroom on Tuesday and shares more on this story.
So Mike, any thoughts?
Yes, sir. All charges are false. They're all wrong. And they're lying on them.
Michael McDougall says he's an innocent man, yet he's accused of posing as a pastor to offer help to drug-addicted and homeless women while paying them for sex. Assistant District Attorney Shay Keller left court disappointed after a Madison County District Judge threw out 3 of 4 felony human trafficking charges.
I mean, it's an unfortunate result, but we'll continue to pursue what we believe to be an egregious violation of the laws of Alabama, and we'll just see what the grand jury has to say about it.
Investigators testified McDougall would visit homeless camps and community outreach programs looking for women in need. A break in the case came with the arrest of one victim on drug charges whose phone kept ringing. She told investigators it was, quote, Pastor Mike looking to have sex again. After McDougal agreed to meet her for sex, that's when police arrested him and found 3 more victims in his phone. All 3 women with drug addictions. They told investigators McDougal would tell them he would turn their life around, offer to go to church, and ask them to have sex for $40 or drugs. They say he even bailed one woman out of jail when she asked how she would pay him back. He said, quote, "with your body." All 4 women told investigators Pastor Mike is known in the jail as someone who can get you out. Pastor Mike tells me he didn't take advantage of them. They took advantage of him.
How did they take advantage of you?
Because they took my kindness for weakness and they've drummed up a bunch of charges on me saying I did this, that, and the other, which I really didn't.
What was your goal when talking to these women and offering them money for sex and bailing them out of jail?
That was not my goal.
That was not your goal? What was your goal?
That's not my goal. My goal is to help people.
McDougal's attorney argued that there was no evidence of McDougal doing this other than the testimony of drug-addicted women. The judge ruled the evidence she heard sounded more like prostitution and not human trafficking, which requires deception or coercion.
In my opinion, that is not a transaction on equal footing. Prostitution is, I do a sex act for you, you give me X amount of dollars, I get what I want, you get what you want. That's not what this was.
Yesterday marked 20 years since Hurricane Katrina made landfall on the Gulf Coast and ravaged New Orleans. Thousands upon thousands of people evacuated the city and others along the coast. Many of them found a temporary home in North Alabama, and some liked it so much that they decided to make North Alabama their permanent home. 48's Noah Cowell spoke to those who stepped up when weary evacuees came here seeking refuge.
Hands on Greater Huntsville gathered up resources 20 years ago, preparing for a couple hundred evacuees coming from New Orleans. What they got instead was over 5,000 pouring in. But their former president told me today that they were able to come together and help everyone who needed it. Sheila McFerrin says it was a struggle accommodating for the busloads of newcomers, but they found a way through rallying nonprofits and churches locally as well as throughout the surrounding counties.
When you've got nothing, you know, you've got to have an organization that you can go to. And so I think after Hurricane Katrina, it really gave people a lot of hope that you can overcome all of this through faith and through people and support.
McFerrin says around half of the 5,000 stayed longer than a year, and the Rock Family Worship Center was a big reason why. Pastor Rusty Nelson says they worked with the city, churches, and local businesses to start Operation Restoration, where they renovated an old hotel to house over 500 evacuees.
What was only going to be open for 6 weeks was actually open for 3 years. And there are still people who live in this live in our community who settled in Huntsville area because they were helped when they came here.
One of those people is Anna Blanchard, a woman who left her home in New Orleans before Katrina destroyed it. Blanchard says she found a temporary home with a friend, but the giving community allowed her and all the others who had lost everything to thrive.
Oh, they welcomed everyone that came. They had their hands out. They gave us food. They gave us the people that didn't have places to stay. They put them in hotels. They were very, very accommodating. It's a wonderful place.
McFerrin believes that experience 20 years ago, combined with the new technology they have, will keep them from being unprepared ever again. Reporting in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
Yes, what an incredible effort from the community just to help people out during such a scary and uncertain time. That is so amazing. And coming up after the break, we have a touching story on how a man who was homeless is now giving back. A sneak peek into stories coming up in our evening newscast, giving a look into some great events happening in the Huntsville and surrounding areas this weekend. All that and more when we come back. everyone, and welcome back to the 48 Recap. This week, 48's Callie Neese got the chance to sit down with Emmanuel Woodson as he shares his touching journey of landing into a situation where he became homeless, and now that he has landed back on his feet, he is giving back to help those who have fallen into the same unfortunate situation he was once in. Let's take a listen.
Emmanuel Woodson was a 4.0 student at Alabama A&M before his life was derailed by grief after his mother died. His grades began to slip, and next thing he knew, he was living out of his car.
And she was my biggest support system. She was like the only one that I had in my life who was like a positive influence.
This is Emmanuel Woodson. Back in 2018, he found himself with no place to live after his mother passed, and his mental health began to slip. He was soon among Huntsville's homeless.
Like, what if I die out here from what if I don't make it?
Woodson told me little things like a fresh pair of socks and snacks would make a world of difference to him when he was living on the streets. But the biggest thing that helped was words of encouragement.
First, I didn't really know what First Stop was. Someone told me it was just a place where you can get food and rest and get out the sun.
But soon after, he realized that this would be a stepping stone to surviving homelessness.
They had just a plethora of resources to kind of get me back on my feet.
From there, he was able to get mental health resources and case management to help him get where he is today. Now he uses his time and talent to help others.
I work in behavioral health with individuals who experience mental health issues, substance use issues. And sometimes when I look at my clients, I can identify with them. I can kind of get down on their level and give them a little bit of hope just because I've experienced some of the things that they experience.
Woodson told me that he wants to go back to school and get his master's degree in clinical psychology so he can become a therapist with the goal of helping those who are experiencing homelessness.
And because of that experience, they're able to, share more. And we're able to get to the root of the problem.
Woodson's life is coming full circle.
The small, it's like, wow, I can buy socks and still have money left over, It's amazing, but I quickly tell myself that it could really happen to anyone. It can quickly go back to that.
Woodson was homeless from 2018 to 2021. He says he is grateful for everyone who helped him out along the way and to remember that anyone can become homeless, so give them some grace. Reporting in Huntsville, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
This was just such a powerful story, and just a reminder that no matter what your situation is, you can overcome it and maybe even help others along the way, just like Emmanuel did. And a few stories to look out for coming up in our evening newscast. Decatur police asked the public to avoid Beltline Road Southwest in front of the mall this morning as agencies responded to a two-vehicle wreck where one person died and others were injured. Traffic was temporarily being diverted through the mall parking lot. It is currently unknown at this time what caused the wreck or the identity of the victims. We will keep you updated right here on WAFF as more details become available. And a woman was arrested and charged with domestic violence, burglary, and DUI in Priceville on Friday. The Priceville Police Department responded to a report of a burglary in progress at a residential property. When they arrived, officers determined that the suspect was the former spouse of the victim. Based on the evidence collected at the scene, 41-year-old Christy Jo Janik was arrested and charged with second-degree domestic violence burglary, which is classified as a Class B felony. Janik also faces charges of driving under the influence after it was revealed she had driven to the residence while intoxicated with two minors in the vehicle. She is currently being held at the Morgan County Jail with the bond set at $6,000. And a Decatur woman was arrested for using a company credit card for unauthorized purchases. On July 30th, a local business reported a theft by an employee and an investigation was launched. Priceville police said the business reported approximately $10,000 in unauthorized charges on a company credit card that had been possessed by the employee. Once evidence was obtained and reviewed, a warrant for first-degree theft of the property was issued for 44-year-old Dana Farrell King. On Saturday, investigators arrested King on the felony warrant and transported her to the Morgan County Jail. She is being held at the jail in lieu of a $10,000 bond. Tune into our evening newscast to hear more details on these stories and many others. And if you are looking for a good event to check out in the area this weekend, especially for Labor Day weekend, definitely go out to the grand opening of Field Day. It is a restaurant and a game place, and today for the grand opening, they're giving away $1,000 cash prize to the person who sinks 100 beanbag toss, and they are also having giveaways all day with epic surprises and opening day exclusives. Me and some of our fellow WAFF crew, we went out on Thursday for their private media event opening night, and it was such a blast. There were games and food, and everything was just so perfect. So I would definitely recommend going out there. It is a ton of fun, and food-wise, I would definitely recommend the pizza and wings. It was so phenomenal, and it's just going to be a great time to enjoy with family and friends. So even if you can't make it out this weekend, I would recommend going at some point. It's such a great time, and it's an awesome addition to the Huntsville area. And Straight to Ale Brewing is hosting a Jimmy Buffett Day tonight at 7 p.m. until close. It will be free entry and island vibes for a full-on Parrot Head party. There will be live music with all the Buffett hits, and there will even be a Fins Up costume contest, so dress in your best island gear for a chance to win. There will also be Parrot Head karaoke at Lib's Lounge after the band plays, so grab your flip-flops and join Straight to Ale for a laid-back night of Buffett bliss. And tonight, you can check out the Rocket City Trash Pandas versus the Columbus Clingstones at Toyota Field at 6:35 p.m. and they will also be playing again tomorrow at 2:35 p.m. Also happening tomorrow is the Huntsville Museum of Art grand reopening and Betsy Peter Lowe Community Free Day. It will be at 300 Church Street in Huntsville from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and it is totally free. And this is a great way to check out the museum and welcome you back to art, inspiration, and community. And there are just some great events happening in the city and surrounding areas this Labor Day weekend. So be sure to go out, have some fun, relax, check out some of these events, and check out Huntsville.org's event tab and WeAreHuntsville.com's event calendar to see more events happening in the area. That's all I had today for the 48 recap. Let's check out some of these Saturday snapshots people submitted. So these top two photos were submitted by Leslie Davis, and she said these were taken out of Mentone. And these photos completely just stopped me in my tracks when I saw them. The view is just so breathtakingly beautiful, and it just looks so peaceful. And this bottom photo is from Kirby, and they also shared this beautiful sky photo. And I just love these kind of photos. It really just shows the beautiful skies and sunsets and sunrises that Alabama has with all the different blues and pinks and stuff. So thank you both so much for submitting these. And that is all I have today for the 48 recap. Thank you all again for submitting these gorgeous photos for Saturday snapshots. And don't forget to tune into 48's First Alert Weather Extra segments. Our meteorologists go live every Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. and every Saturday and Sunday at 8:15 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Forecaster Jada Russell will join you all here at 4:30 today for another edition of Weather Extra. And this is just another way to give you all extra insights on the latest forecast. Make sure to download our 48 apps and follow us on our Facebook and YouTube channel so you don't miss any updates on the weather. And if you would like to stay in touch with me and connected with me throughout the week, please be sure to follow my Facebook page at Tatyana White, WAFF 48. Take care, everyone, and have a happy and safe Labor Day weekend. I will see you all back here next Saturday. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend.